understand that maybe you don't want to take that line that cuts over the top of fans if you have got the propensity just to turn your hands over too quickly and kill someone.
And we're back with the 6th episode of the Rush Hour Golf Podcast with, again, Golf Lover UK. Welcome, mate.
Hey, buddy.
Pro, how you doing?
Good. Happy to be here. Excited to get things going.
You look a little different than last time.
Yeah, I'm just kind of experimenting with a different look. Grown a beard. I was doing the whole Dustin Johnson look, but decided, look, we're getting into summertime. Give myself a little shave. So
thank you for conceding the alpha male position to me. Let's begin. Now, we've all seen this viral clip going around on Instagram where Garrett from Good snap hooks a tee shot into a fan. Should he be charged with attempted murder, or is this wanton disregard for human life? Discuss.
I don't think that would be considered murder. That would be more than a manslaughter tip, but or maybe it's some sort of reckless endangerment. Like maybe that might be something. But I saw that clip and I was like, I couldn't believe how close they were standing to that tee box and basically like right in the line of play. Like Garrett is a good player, but he isn't a professional. Like you can't trust that he's gonna hit it right over your head. Like everybody hits bad shots every now and then. So I was like shocked how close they were.
At least he apologized. Freddie, when he hit that lady at the Masters, didn't even say sorry.
That's very true. Didn't even yell for, I believe.
No. Didn't yell for, didn't say sorry. Well, there's no sorry on the camera, and definitely didn't yell for. At least Garrett had the decency to go over. Like, I feel sorry for him. I know you're joking and being hard on him, but I think with some of these things that, at some of these events and these pro-ams, we've all played in them. I know that Pro, you've played in a few. If anyone stands still long enough, you'll tell them how you played over in Arizona. Like if anyone takes a breath for long enough, you'll tell them about every shot for all 9 holes.
People ask me about it. That's totally on them, not on me.
Yeah, but the point is that I don't feel sorry for these things. That you've got to try and police it properly. You've got to make sure the fans stood in the right place. But a lot of these fans, they want to see the YouTube stars. I got friends that love golf, and they couldn't name you. It's not disrespectful to PGA Tour or Live or European Tour. They probably couldn't name you 15 players playing this weekend outside of maybe a couple of household names. But they watch lots of YouTube golf. So they go and they want to see these YouTube golfers. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that's going to happen more unless maybe there are slightly more ropes involved, people understand it, and maybe these YouTube golfers who are fantastic players, look way better sticks than I am, understand that maybe you don't want to take that line that cuts over the top of fans if you have got the propensity just to turn your hands over too quickly and kill someone.
But to me, it's interesting because these YouTube fans watch these guys, they see them shanking them into the woods. So maybe the defense would be that you've watched me play on YouTube. That's why you're here. You know how bad I am, and you're assuming this risk.
Yeah, I guess there is a little bit of element of like the excitement of being that close and having potentially a golf ball whiz by your head. Maybe they need to give out helmets instead. That's, a possibility. I did see that the guy that got hit, they gave him free good apparel for life. So, I mean, net, as long as there were no injuries, that's a pretty good deal for him.
Yeah, but seriously, how much longer is good going to be around?
You're on one today. You're being Mr. Nasty. Like I like the guys at good.
No, but I'm just being realistic because you have it's the same thing as a K-pop boy band. They've got like about 3-year lifespan. They start going through puberty, and then everyone forgets about them.
Look, yeah. I think they'll be around for a while. I think anyone who's making good content is going to be around for a while. Like I don't know about you, but my viewing habits massively changed. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, and like I know that one of you two, I can't remember which one of you two gives Rick Shields a load of grief. I love Rick Shields. Rick Shields' show is one of my favorites. I listen to Rick, I watch it. I think Guy's hilarious at times, giving him abuse, and you see some of these people and they're putting out good content. I think the second anyone puts out bad content, they're done. because there's always someone coming up the rails, use that horse racing term. There's always someone ready to take that spot. It's why you've seen people like Rick have 3 or 4 different channels and do 3 or 4 different things, and like not just do club reviews, but do this, that, and the other. And I think that's a big thing. I think one of the things that's coming in is things like we're doing now, which is more the talking piece, allowing people to access it. A lot of them don't want to listen to those shows. There's a couple of them, I can't, those other blokes, I can't remember what they're called. There's loads of these shows that people do that have grown in popularity. Like Hank Haney's podcast is growing in popularity all the time. Hank does great work. And I know Hank's Marmite. You guys don't have Marmite, do you? You hate it or love him. Like I love Hank, and I think he's fantastic. And
Hank's great.
And it's growing. There's more and more of these shows growing. I think they'll be around for a long time, as long as they do good content. The second they don't, then there's someone else take their place.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm worried about with Good is just just like you were talking about with some of these boy bands, like they'll blow up and be really popular, then they'll sort of break off and do their own things. Like we've already seen
they've
that
already done that,
a
haven't
little
they?
bit with
They've already done a little bit of that.
Mike.
They've already had
like Micah has obviously gone off to do his own thing. Grant's doing the same. Garrett still has his own channel, and Luke Kwan is a professional golfer. So, you never know exactly how these things are going to go. I really do hope Good is around for a long time. I think that they're actually great for the game. I think that they're bringing in that sort of the younger fan into golf. And I think it's a really easy entry point for them.
Well, if we want to talk about entry point, I don't think there's any golf watching experience that's more accessible than Bob Does Sports.
Joey Coldcuts will serve time in prison if there's ever a gallery. And that's actually a perfect prison name. Hey, Joey Coldcuts. Did you just drop the soap? What?
I've got a friend who's not watched any golf on TV, like plays off of 13, 14, good golfer, can get it around sometimes, a couple under his handicap, often at 18, 19, but like a 13, 14 handicap. And he only watches Fat Perez, loves him. Like he said, I love watching them. I love watching him. He's relatable. I enjoy him. When they played against Barstool, against Foreplay, Fat Perez was like, they were all just drinking aggressively. Like they had a great, and like I find that is, again, you talk about good with some of the getting younger people in. My mate's in his late 30s. He watches that, and he's back watching golf now. He's watched a bit of Live. He's watched a little bit of the DP World Tour. And Bob Does Sports got him back into watching golf. So it brings people in other ways.
Yeah. Well, in the future, you're definitely going to have celebrity golf YouTuber rehab. You get Dr. Phil in there, get these guys off the sauce, maybe get them in the gym. Then you're going to have a special episode where, what's the one guy's name? Matt Scharf.
Oh, yeah.
He looks in the camera again and he's like, hey guys, I got a haircut again. He actually did he did an episode about that. He just,
he did.
Was like, thanks, dude. I got some milk for my cereal. What else is new?
You're on one today.
What?
He's on one today. Like, we're good cop, good cop.
No question.
We're good cop, good cop. He's just being a bastard to everybody.
I wasn't prepared for something.
Well, here's the next one. I'm going to read this quote, guys. And now, golf lover, this is going to start going DP World Tour, PGA Tour real fast. All right?
Love it.
Slippery slope downhill.
Here we go. Folks at home, I'm also inspired by men who try to help, I guess, men and women have better relationships. So this quote is from Matthew Hussey. He has a lot of followers. His last name is spelled Hussey. There's an E there. If the feelings are mutual, the effort will be equal. How does this relate to the DP World Tour Keith Pelley and the PGA Tour Jay Monahan?
Well, look, Keith Pelley.
Jay is horrified.
I'm ready just to blow, and Jay's just like, I'm ready as well. I'm ready as well.
No. This is your time. This is your account. I'm deferring to you completely here.
Keith Pelley is effectively Nero. He's Emperor Nero. He's fiddling while Rome burns. He is literally beyond asleep at the wheel. He doesn't know where the wheel is. He's not even in the car. He might be in the back of a truck. Today, breaking news, Porsche are considering dropping their sponsorship in the DP World Tour. Surprise, surprise. DP World Tour kick out Keimer and Casey, both sponsored by Porsche, both big names. But we got a major winner, former world top 5. Was Casey number 4 or definitely 5, top 5?
Yeah, it was, third, I think. He's also a winner in the Live Golf Tucson Pro-Am, just FYI. So
yeah, with you again, this story comes. But the point is, you're dropping out 2 of the great stalwarts of European golf.
Yeah.
Great Ryder Cup players, major winner, top 3 in the world or 4. And you expected no repercussions, no ramifications. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I've just got the names up to make a point of this. I knew you were going to ask me, so I thought, right, I'll get on one now, and I might as well get in a real full piss. Right, top 10 players, you talk about effort, top 10 players from DP World Tour are going to go to the PGA Tour. We know that, right?
Yeah.
So after that, what's the European Tour left with? Now they've kicked out Westy, Blandy, the other lot. What are we left with? Valimaki, Yannick Paul, Langanesque, Bjork, Rosner, Marcel Siem, Pablo Otharbo, Lutien, Broom, Daniel Gavins. That's the next 10 best players in Europe. Now, I'm not being derogatory to those players. They're all fantastic players. They will all compete and they'll all go on to have fantastic careers. But if those are the top 10 players you're trying to get a tour sponsored for, your tour's broke.
No one's really coming out to see those guys.
No. Daniel Gavins is English, right? I would struggle to pick him out of 10 golfers if you lined him up and they all look similar.
Me too.
I could pick him out of 2 or 3 possibly. And I've watched him play and he's a good player. But the point is, you're not going to get 12,000 players going to the British Masters at the Belfry to watch Daniel Gavins and I'm going to click on his name to confirm his first name. Yeah, Aaron Cockerell, 31 from Canada. Again, no offense to Aaron, great player. Obviously, he's a professional golfer on the European Tour. Currently ranked 23rd.
Yeah.
But you talk about effort. The European Tour are being left with a low-end, attractive point of name. You bring back 14, 15, 16 of those live players that shouldn't have been kicked out, put them on tour. Give DJ Bryson and a few others a few starts on the European Tour. All of a sudden, you've got a very, very saleable product.
No, I totally agree. Like, the other thing people aren't really talking about is a lot of the ways that you generate stars on these tours is that the new guys will plan an event with some of the old established guys and then beat those guys. So you basically, in effect, removed an entire generation of European Tour stars. So it's like, how are you even going to identify who are the next stars unless they're lucky enough to get into the majors? But even getting into the majors now is so much more difficult for somebody that's outside of the PGA Tour because the OWGR situation is so effed. I think that all these things are sort of in the same cauldron, and the recipe is for, pardon my French, but shit stew. Like there's just nothing good that's going to come out of this.
It's not going to be a shit stew because they haven't got a pot to piss in. Like to take the analogy even further, the European Tour were on the brink of bankruptcy, significant financial difficulty. Jay came in with his private jet and first class tickets to watch the Players Tournament, and Keith Pelley went, "Oh, I'll do whatever you want." And what they've done is they've given them a bit of money, and now the PGA Tour will not be following up with more money. They're not going to put any more money in because actually what the PGA Tour managed to do is they managed to destroy one of their biggest sets of competition, which was the European Tour. Yeah. And Keith Pelley was daft enough to think that Jay Monahan had fantastic intentions. As I've said before, I think they're complicit. I think they're in on it together. I think they've known what they're doing the whole time. And what we found is we've now got the European Tour, which is a tour I've loved and I've grown up loving, is now losing all of its best players. We've got rid of a generation of talent that I am the same age as many of them. Some are a little younger, some are a bit older. And they're the players of my generation and they're no longer there. And and I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I love Rory. I think he's a great player. But it's okay for Rory to go away and play on the PGA Tour and then come back and just play in the Rolex Series events. Why is it not okay for others to go and play and then come back? And I've already said this. If the DP World Tour wanted to say, hey guys, if you go and play live, we don't really want you to come back and play in our 4 or 5 Premier events. We don't think it's fair because we're not aligned with you. But come and play in some of our lesser events. How, again, I pick on the Czech Masters. Imagine how the Czech Masters, or Sudal, which is at the minute, obviously, it conflicts with live timetable. But imagine if you got 2 or 3 of those smaller events and you put in 15 live players.
Nah. It'd be huge.
You take the Joburg Open and you put in all the Stingers team, all the Ripper team, and a couple of guys from the Ironheads.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sion Kim's not going to make the cut, but besides that.
No, you can always take certain teams because these teams are like starting to travel together and such. Like you can designate like British Masters. Like you could have all the Majestic show up. I'm actually wearing my Majestic shirt. I don't know if you guys can see it in honor. They've been playing a little bit better in Tulsa, so I got to shout them out. But no, you can get the Majestics playing in a British event. You could get the cliques playing in Germany. You could get like these teams to like scatter about in different events, and it's only going to add to the intrigue. It's only going to add to how good that potential event could be.
Big Boy said about effort. If Keith wanted to, he could have done this. It is his tour.
Yeah.
Jay doesn't make the decisions. Keith does. I believe Jay leans on him, and I believe he has unfair and undue influence on him. But Keith could have turned around and gone, do you know what? These 17 events don't have the best of fields. So what I could say to them is, if you want to play on the European Tour, you must play in 3 non-premier events to get access to a couple of the others. And make it really simple. Would Brandon Grace play 3 non-premier events to go and play in Dubai and go and play at the Scottish Championship? Of course he would.
Yeah, no question.
And then all of a sudden, you've got Brandon Grace and the rest of the Stingers playing 5 events.
Gentlemen, I'm going to sum this up by saying that because the effort isn't apparently equal, the feelings aren't mutual, and Keith Pelley needs to find a new dance partner. This do-si-do is over.
I think the bouncers need to kick Keith and Jay out of the party.
That could happen. Like I said previously, like I really do think at some point these guys are going to be scapegoated. I just think that I don't know how long it's going to take, but wouldn't surprise me. I think you mentioned last week, Pelley could be gone at the end of the year, and I think Monahan. I don't know if it's on the same timetable. I'm guessing sometime 2024 if I had to guess.
This article is from 2021. It's about the PGA Tour, Anheuser-Busch extending their partnership that's already spanned 3 decades. So apparently they were going to expand it a few more years. So now we have this whole Bud Light issue that's with Anheuser-Busch and potentially affecting the PGA Tour's sponsor. And then you also have this latest development with the AT&T. What do you think about that, gentlemen, in terms of current sponsors bailing, not wanting to renew, and then other ones also having potential difficulties upcoming, like Anheuser-Busch, and how that's also going to affect the PGA Tour revenue, considering that Seth Waugh from the PGA of America just came out on record stating that the Live Golf Tour was going to have financial issues.
Yeah. No, hang on. We'll take that one first. The running costs of the Live Golf Tour, now it's set up, is, I think is it 17 or 19 hours of profit in a total year for the Saudi government. I'm sure they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to run out of money. As long as they're interested, as long as they want to do it, it's not even a full day's worth of profit. So, yeah, I don't think that is an issue. If they lose interest and they're not interested, then it's a different thing. I've worked in the Middle East. I said it before. If the Saudis say they're interested, they're interested. that's very much the culture. If they're indecisive, invest in something, it becomes personal. There's a lot of pride in it, and they'll do their best to make it work. So, look, the money is not going to run out from the Saudis unless they decide they don't want to do it.
No, I completely agree. I do think that this the AT&T thing is bigger than people are making it out to be. Like, obviously AT&T is still going to have some ties to the PGA Tour. Obviously, they sponsored the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and Pebble Beach it looks like they're probably going to be a designated event next year. So AT&T is going to have to pony up some more money for that to have a larger purse. So I think all of that makes sense. But the problem is, like, you are creating these sort of two tours, the sort of tour within a tour, and I don't know like where this carousel ends. Like, I don't think for example, the Wells Fargo, you've basically increased the purse like 200%, and the ratings were actually lower this year than they were last year.
They were higher on the Sunday. If we're going to be fair. They were higher but they're higher on the Sunday by like 15%. Yeah. So you had a 200% increase in cost for a 15% increase in ratings.
Yeah. So overall, it's still like, not even close to being worth it. And also the thing that I think about is if their revenues start to dip a little bit, how does that affect the European Tour, who's getting, partially funded by, the PGA Tour? So this the whole ecosystem, to me, it really does seem like it's a little bit of a house of cards at the moment. And I do think that eventually the PGA Tour, and this is something that we've talked about for a full year, they are going to drop their tax exempt status. They're going to drop their 501c status, and they're probably going to go ahead and take on private equity. Here comes the TGL. Like, this is all, I think, part of the sort of overall plan to make.
And when they take on private equity and they take on a huge percentage from the PIF, like their fan shop.
I want to touch on this point a little bit more about Seth Waugh of the PGA of America. Mm-hmm. Now, the title from Golf Monthly is "Flawed Live Golf Can't Keep Burning Money. PGA Chief Sends Stark Warning." And he also states that Live Golf will have no choice but to seek some sort of settlement with the PGA Tour, as it doesn't have a survivable business model. But also, remember, Seth Waugh was the head of Deutsche Bank a few years ago. Yeah. And this is from 2009. And here's what he says. This is from a Golf Channel article. Still, he, as in Seth Waugh, believes the PGA Tour, has to rethink what it's selling. So even in 2009, the now head of the PGA of America, when he was head of Deutsche Bank and they were sponsoring the PGA Tour, thought that the product that the PGA Tour was putting out, and this, again, 2009, all the way up to 2022, the same mush, they had to rethink what it was selling. But it went on for many, many years of it still selling the same stale product. Yeah. What do we think about Seth Waugh now that you see the other side of the coin, where he was actually criticizing the PGA Tour for this model that it kept going for so many years?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think given those quotes, this is kind of who he is. He, look, and everybody has a right to criticize any golf tour, any company, any sort of organization. I'm totally fine with it. Nobody's more critical of organizations than me. So, that's totally fine. But, I do think that these things with the PGA of America are kind of a slippery slope. Because, I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea for Seth Waugh to be commenting on the business of Live Golf, considering that, like, the PGA of America is potentially another party in this antitrust lawsuit, where you have all of this collusion between the PGA Tour, the USGA, the PGA of America, and all of this is sort of bubbling up in the majors. Like, we've already talked about it with the US Open and the USGA sort of changing their criteria to potentially penalize live players. Like, all of these organizations are part of the same establishment. It's clear to me that this establishment does not want Live Golf to be part of the professional golf ecosystem, and they want it to go away. It's like they're wishing it to go away, which is not going to happen. So if I'm them, I'm trying to get to the end game a little bit faster and try to just get everybody sitting around a table and figure this thing out. To me, it's not that complicated, but obviously there's a lot going on with the litigation. So there's a limited amount that you could potentially do, but most litigations get settled at some point. And I do think that the PGA of America is going to be part of that. I think all the majors are going to be part of a potential settlement. So we'll just have to see how it plays out.
I'm almost bored of talking about it. Seth Ware obviously was at Deutsche Bank, and while he was there, obviously Deutsche Bank opened branches in Saudi Arabia, set up their wealth management arm in Riyadh. It's a dangerous, slippery.
It's just hypocrisy. It's like everything having to do with Saudi Arabian funding, this sort of fake morality, fake sort of self-righteousness from the PGA Tour and all of the American entities, when Saudi Arabia is such a critical trading partner of the U.S. They're a key ally of us.
I remember Brandel Chambly and Eamon Lynch and a couple others. They're on TV, self-aggrandizing about this, that, and the other about Liv. And I used to love Eamon Lynch. I was a huge fan of his writing. And then this, that about Eamon Lynch and about how it's not these values. The same day that the American president was over in Saudi Arabia shaking hands, it's like what?
It was just a fist bump, I think, so it was okay. Remember, it was just a fist bump.
I think if anyone wants to keep on about the Saudi Arabia stuff, they really are a broken record that doesn't understand quite how deep the Saudi Arabian businesses and ties are into all of the industries we use. And 100%. As I've said, as I speak, as I find, I've worked in the Middle East. I feel blessed to have met so many friends over there, and it's a fantastic place. And so much of what we hear today is just a lot of people repeating the same verbiage all the time without any self-lived experiences. And I understand people have their own opinion. I've always respected that, and I'll never say anyone's wrong for having an opinion. What I will say is, if you're going to say you can't play golf because it's funded by Saudi Arabia, you then also have to understand what that links to in the rest of the life. But I think the Saudi Arabia discussion is sort of just been worn out now, and personally, I'm kind of bored of it, and I'd rather get on with talking about, as you said, Golf Critic, that why are we not getting around a table? No, we're not getting around a table, and they're not going to. Because they've dug their heels in so much, and they've all thrown their lot in with Nero fiddling over in the wallet while it burns. They're happy. Keith's over there looking at the European Empire just burning to the ground.
I love that analogy. That's gold right there. The Nero one is great.
Yeah, and then you got the rest of the golf establishment. In the Masters, they've changed their criteria. No, they didn't change it for the Masters, but you look at the change of criteria, they know it's now got harder for live players to get to qualify. Yep. They've changed theirs. The US Open is changed theirs. They hide behind you can go and qualify. Oh, well done, brilliant. Okay, yeah, anyone can go and qualify. I get that, but it's a weak argument. Yeah. And the PGA of America have invited some players, not invited others. I'm just hoping the Open Championship doesn't fall in line. I'm hoping Martin Slumbers just stays on an island and goes, I'm not going to get involved with this, but I fear for the worst. I fear that he'll probably go the same route, but I hope he won't. That's kind of where we are.
Martin Slumbers, head of the R&A, was head of one of the departments of Deutsche Bank. Mm-hmm. And during his time period, I did a video on this. They had to pay billions out because of doing illegal activity. Apparently, I don't know if I don't recall exactly if it was money laundering, things like that. But then he gets on his moral high horse as well. Gives press conferences during the British Open, and then you investigate his background and shadiness.
I want name calling and the investigating backgrounds. I want all this to stop. Everyone just needs to stop and realise it's about golf.
Oh, completely.
Liv's got 15,500 people there today. Who go, well, that's not as many as you get to Phoenix. Well, no, but Phoenix has been going since the mid-90s. Like, it's just the first time it's been in Tulsa. Calm down.
Yeah.
Like, Liv hasn't been running for 12 months. It's his first time in Tulsa. And you're trying to compare it to an event which has got a reputation for being a drinking and partying. Like,
it's not even worth it. Like some of these arguments that I hear all the time about the live events, it's like I started tuning it out this point because there's just a lot of bad actors there on social media, and they're not they're they're sort of nameless, they're faceless, they're not they're all saying basically the same talking points that they've been saying for a year that have already been totally, thrown in the trash. Like, obviously, Liv is here to stay. The popularity is going up. They're, having sustainable organic growth. Like, this is clear. Year over year, there's going to be more and more people tuning in to Liv. There's going to be more and more people coming out to the tournaments. Like, this is exactly how they're this is exactly what they want. This is the plan coming to fruition. So, I mean, everybody just needs to stop all the nonsense and just like let's enjoy the golf. Like that's really what I'm here for. And it is critical for the majors to maintain their credibility, to continue to invite live players and give them paths into the majors. But I got to be honest, I'm very, very concerned about 2024 moving forward. Like, if they continue to dig their heels in, like we're just going to be inviting, folks that have won those tournaments, or, there might be some more major champions that sort of come into live, but it's not. They need to have like an official system to get more live players.
They're not going to. You know that.
Yeah.
You know
Unfortunately.
that. Look, we need to stop hoping it's not going to happen. They've made it hard for people to join. If they were going to make it easier to join, Ridley would have stood at start that saying, said, okay, after this event, not even invite many if he didn't want to say the top 5 live players at the end of the year will be invited to the Masters. He didn't say it. He's not going to say it. It's not going to happen. We've all said for a long time they could invite top 5, 6, 7, 8. I see loads of permutations. Someone sent me something. Let me have a quick. Someone sent me something on Twitter today. It was actually really, really clever little thing this bloke did. What's his name? 13 hole-in-ones at Mighty Eels 86. Tagged me, Greg Norman, and someone else in it. And it's a project I've been working on about how you can actually get and you can work out all the different ways you can get people to be part of the majors with different qualification criteria. Really, really sensible. And I've read it and like absolutely brilliant. And like the very few holes you could pick in it, maybe a couple of things, but really good.
Bob Harrick of Sports Illustrated, I believe, put out an article that he tried to make it seem like 18 of live golfers or so were in because they were in the top 100 of the OWGR. But then within the article, he points out that Webb Simpson got in, even though he's 130th, and he compares it to another golfer from live who's 103 or so, but didn't get in. But then if you look at it, it's apples to oranges because the live guy hasn't been getting OWGR points for a long time, and Webb Simpson's been on the PGA Tour the whole time. But then within that article, he points out that it's just up to the discretion of the PGA of America anyway. So they do all this smoke and mirrors and try to throw OWGR in the title as if it's some type of criteria or it's this major qualification. PGA Championship doesn't use the OWGR.
No,
so I don't even know why Bob Harrick tries to kind of muddy the waters with that.
Yeah, so the PGA does have their own sort of special categories for inviting players, and it's based off of mostly one, they do want to have all the top 100 players because they've always branded their event as the best field in golf, and they want to have all the top 100 players. So all those guys are going to get in almost all the time. Now, the problem is some of these supplemental lists that the PGA have to sort of to determine who else gets in, they're solely based off of this like PGA Tour performance, where obviously none of the live guys have played in any of those events. So you have somebody like Cameron Tringali, who's ranked 103rd in the OWGR, clearly one of the top 100 players in the world. I don't think there's any question about it. I think when he went over to live, he was in the 60s. Solid player, deserves to play in the PGA Championship like every year. Because he isn't part of that PGA Tour pecking order, he's going to continually get passed over. Like they just invited, Callum Tarrant, who's getting in as an alternate. They have like Eric Cole, who's I think like 133rd in the OWGR, who's gonna get over Cameron. And it's solely based off of this like PGA Tour points list that like if they don't adjust that going forward, again, it's just going to be all PGA Tour players playing in the PGA Championship.
That's all it's going to be. They're not going to adjust it. We need to stop thinking they will. They're not going to do it.
Yeah,
if they were going to do it, they would have done it. It's not going to happen. Like you just look at everything that's been done, how it's been done. There is no intention. There is no expressed, implied, implicit, explicit comments or actions that shows they want to include anyone from live. It's not going to happen. And I think when the court case comes out, then they'll all go back. Even if the court case comes out, finds in the favour of live, finds collusion, then all they'll do is they'll change their criteria as soon as the courts allow them to do it. I honestly do believe that we are probably looking at, until there's a significant change in leadership in the PGA Tour, because that will filter on possibly to the majors, that live players, we will be going through sort of a period of asterisked majors.
Yep.
This will be known as the fallow years, or whatever the years will be, where for 3 or 4 years, until the PGA Tour hits significant financial difficulty, realise it can't go up against an unlimited funded sport or per opponent, there's nothing's going to change.
Already in the beginning period of the PGA Tour, showing its lack of financial stability, AT&T is pulling out. I just mentioned earlier that the Anheuser-Busch is going to have its issues with the Bud Light, potentially having Roy McIlroy on the can of a Michelob Ultra soon, showing its tone deafness. You've lost the Honda this year already. The match play's gone. I mean, how many more sponsors have to go out before the alarm is raised, especially considering when Seth Walk comes out in record and says that the live golf business model isn't sustainable or what have you? That's completely like they've been doing this classic play the whole time of projecting.
Well, I think they're doing a classic LeVar Ball. Does everyone remember LeVar Ball was the captain, the father of LaMelo and the other boys? Yeah, and he spoke into existence his boy getting drafted by the Lakers. He spoke into existence. I remember watching all those talk shows, and Colin Cowherd actually said the line, "You're speaking this into existence," and Cowherd was absolutely spot on. I think they're trying to speak into existence the falling of live falling down. I think they're trying to convince themselves it's going to happen. Well, if we do this, players won't go. They went. If we do this, players won't go. More players went. If we do this, players won't go. More went. And now they're hoping that locking down the majors, whacking massive fines on from DP World Tour is going to prevent players from going. Well, actually, you could argue the horse has already bolted on the players going.
Yep.
Maybe 2 or 3 more go, 3 or 4 more go. Who knows? We've all heard names. Who knows if it happens? But now, what they're doing is their preventative measures are actually hurting themselves.
Yes.
Before, the preventative measures were just there to hurt people. But they've gone so far with this, preventative measures are now hurting themselves. And so it is, how long can you continue to let blood out at your wrist, hoping that someone else, the old phrase my wife sometimes, don't drink poison and expect someone else to get ill. The PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, they're drinking the poison, hoping that someone else is going to become ill. It's a sad state. And I said it before, I'll say it again, I want the PGA Tour to be successful. I love golf. That is my Twitter handle. I want DP World Tour to be successful. I want Asian Tour to be successful. I want Live to be successful. Jay, 2.5 years ago, should have picked up the phone, spoke to Greg, and it's got rid of the WGCs and Live become the WGCs. That's what it should have been. top 60 players from the tour, from all tours, make the WGCs, get rid of the WGCs, make it a live event. They could have done that, all worked together, had a boatload of cash. That was the easy way to do it 2.5 years ago.
I completely agree. I think that I'm going to be sort of the negative one here. I'm at the point now where I don't want the PGA Tour to succeed anymore. I just don't, because I think that everything in the golf establishment goes back to the PGA Tour, and then basically wanted to almost like torpedo the entire golf world in order to maintain their monopoly on the top level of golf. Like they're torpedoing the European Tour. They're preparing to torpedo the majors by keeping the live players out. And there's going to be less interest if, the next couple of years, the exemptions of Brooks Koepka run out in the Masters. The exemptions of Bryson DeChambeau run out in the Masters. Like, there's going to be less interest if those guys aren't. If those guys are playing really well at live and not in the majors, it's going to lessen those events. And honestly, if it gets to that point, there's a lot of fans that are going to tune out the majors. So, like, I'm certainly one of those people that I've gone on record to say, if the majors don't do the right thing by the live players and the guys that went over there, and they don't do the right thing by the fans, like, I'm not going to watch the majors going forward. So they really do need to figure this out. And I know I'm not the only one. So, I mean, there's a lot of U.S. fans specifically, and global fans too, that like are, very, very passionate about this. And, for them to, the PGA Tour to be sort of the linchpin in all this, like, all they have to do is try to resolve this conflict, try to bring live into the fold. Like, everything else sort of falls in line. That obviously isn't gonna happen from everything that we've talked about. So, I'm very concerned about the state of things going forward starting next year.
Folks at home, you heard it here first. Share, subscribe, and like, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.